sisters missing after custody visit of dad. Hours later, a chilling find. Hi everyone. What happens when a seemingly routine custody visit turns into a chilling disappearance that grips an entire state? In the quiet town of Wenatchee, Washington, a mother's worst fear became a harrowing reality when her 3 young daughters vanished without a trace. Their father, once trusted, is now the prime suspect in a nationwide manhunt that's left authorities racing against time. As layers of this case unravel, questions mount. How did someone with a documented history of mental distress gain access to the children? Could this have been prevented? And most of all, where is Travis Decker now? This is not just a story of loss. It's a story that shakes the very system meant to protect families. Stay with us as we walk you through a case that's drawing national attention and heartbreak. Dear friends, the story begins in late May in central Washington. Whitney Decker was expecting her 3 daughters, Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia, back after what was supposed to be a short, scheduled custody visit with their father, Travis Decker. But that evening, as the clock struck past the arranged return, worry crept in. Phone calls to Travis went unanswered. His phone went straight to voicemail. With a sense of dread growing by the minute, Whitney contacted authorities. The girls were only 9, 8, and 5 years old. Their disappearance triggered an immediate response. Detectives swiftly launched an investigation, beginning with a trace on Travis Decker's vehicle, a white 2017 GMC Sierra pickup. It was eventually located in the rugged terrain near Rock Island Campground, a quiet, isolated site about 2.5 hours from Seattle. Authorities hoped to find a clue, perhaps the children themselves. What they discovered instead sent shockwaves through the small community. The bodies of all 3 girls, lifeless and still, near the campground. Travis was nowhere in sight. What followed was a manhunt, intensified by urgency, grief, and disbelief. Decker, a former military serviceman, had vanished. His vehicle was found abandoned 17 miles from the crime scene by a Forest Service deputy. Officers scoured the remote wilderness with helicopters, motorcycles, and tracking dogs. Alerts were issued nationwide. The warning was clear. Decker was considered armed and dangerous. Law enforcement moved quickly to build a case. Charges were filed, 3 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of first-degree crimes tied to the incident. Decker's military background and prior mental health struggles added complexity to the legal conversation. His ex-wife, Whitney, shared that since returning from service, he had suffered from PTSD and unpredictable behavior, though she never imagined he posed a real threat to their children. Court records revealed no immediate red flags that would have prevented the visitation. Yet Decker was reportedly living out of his truck, staying at campgrounds, a detail that now casts a long shadow over the custody decision. As legal experts weighed in, questions began to mount. Was it too soon to file such serious charges before Decker was even apprehended? Should investigators have waited for more evidence? Some believe the decision was strategic, to issue warrants and secure his arrest. Others argue that moving too fast could jeopardize parts of the prosecution. The legal implications go further. Criminal defense attorney Anthony Osso, a former assistant district attorney, explained that even without a direct confession or eyewitness testimony, circumstantial evidence could prove decisive. The children were last seen with Decker. Their bodies were found near his truck. His phone reportedly pinged near the same area. All these pieces form a narrative, one that may be strong enough to lead to life imprisonment if proven in court. But another layer complicates this case: mental health. If captured and brought to trial, Decker's defense team may invoke an insanity plea. PTSD from military service, if documented and untreated, could factor into either the defense or sentencing. Insanity defenses are rarely successful, but can influence punishment if supported by solid evidence. The fact that Decker fled the scene, however, suggests a possible awareness of wrongdoing, which might weaken such an argument in court. Meanwhile, the community grieves. The 3 sisters had attended local schools, and the Wenatchee School District released a public message mourning their loss and offering counseling services to students and staff. A GoFundMe campaign was also launched to support Whitney Decker, who now faces the unthinkable: the loss of all 3 of her children in a single night. Back in the legal arena, The case continues to stir debate. Could the family court system be held accountable for allowing visitation given Decker's unstable living conditions? Could Whitney sue the state or any agency involved? Legal experts say that's unlikely. Even if signs of instability existed, courts are rarely held responsible for crimes they couldn't foresee. It's a painful truth that lingers in the aftermath. If Decker is caught, the legal timeline stretches out. With a case this complex, 3 young lives lost, layers of mental health, custody questions, and public outcry, trial proceedings could take years. Forensic evidence will be critical. Autopsy results, DNA matches, phone records, and perhaps even data pulled from Decker's military file. If his DNA was already in federal databases, it could speed up identification and connections to the crime scene. Prosecutors may rely heavily on this physical evidence, especially in the absence of a confession, and yet a plea deal remains on the table. As is common in high-stakes cases, prosecutors might prefer a negotiated plea to avoid the emotional toll and risks of a public trial. If Decker is found and decides to plead guilty, it could mean quicker closure for the family. But if he maintains innocence or insists on trial, the process will demand careful jury selection to ensure fairness in a case that has already flooded headlines. What cannot be forgotten in all this legal complexity is the emotional wreckage left behind. A mother stripped of her children, a community stunned, and a nation watching, questioning how such a tragedy could unfold from what began as a routine weekend visit. 3 sisters, full of life and innocence, went on a visit they were supposed to return from. Now, their names, Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia, are etched into the hearts of a grieving community. The search for Travis Decker continues, but this case is already forcing a hard look at the systems meant to protect children, and the cracks that sometimes remain hidden until it's too late. Mental health, military trauma, family court, each plays a role in this tragic puzzle. But one thing remains clear: justice must be found, both for accountability and for the healing to begin. If you have any information about Travis Decker's whereabouts, contact authorities immediately. And to the many families navigating shared custody and mental health struggles, let this story be a reminder to stay vigilant, ask hard questions, and never take peace for granted. Thank you for watching True Crime. Stay safe and stay curious.